Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Rita Agrawal, distinguished fellow speakers. Very good morning and afternoon to all of you. I wish to first of all thank the organizer, Nepal Institute of International Cooperation and Engagement, for the invitation extended to me. And I'm also very honored and pleased to be associated with distinguished personality on this panel. My presentation will be on Rise on China with focus on its impact on Asia, on Southeast Asia. And I'll try to share with you this impact from the perspective of economic dimension or dynamics, and secondly, in the geopolitical angle in the context of the US-Sino rivalry or contest. As an introductory remark, I share with the comment made by Dr. Rita that China's rise has created rather two different responses globally. One, which we can consider more favorable, welcoming China's achievement, in particular the economic domain, and her stronger and deeper global engagement. And this group of people or countries expect to benefit from this development. The second response is what I consider less favorable, viewing China's ascendancy as a threat to their own interests and global influence, and view the situation very much in the ideological context, and that China must be contained. And I think this second position is very much reflected in the ongoing intensification of the tensions between the United States and America and China, and the geopolitical rivalry between the two that we see today. To me, on reality, what we have seen since the 1990s, there has been a shift or balance of power to the East. China's ascendancy in economic and global domain is very evident, and this is strongly felt not only in the region but worldwide. China has become an important contributor to global growth and also the regional growth. Its achievement is not only in the sector of economic domain, but stretches to other soft power elements such as in the science and technology, finance, infrastructure, construction, development, military, and recently space exploration. We can expect China to play a more strategic global role as we move on. And China has made known of its desire to be a player on the global stage. But at the same time, we have noticed that the United States and some of its allies have shown equal determination to retain the global status quo. It has instituted several policies or strategic measures as reflected in the so-called pushback strategy to meet the challenges posed by China. We see this situation or position recently reiterated at the recent G7 and World Summit. Many analysts see the Sino-US rivalry will be part of the geopolitical scene for the world for the next 10 years or so. So this has created a dilemma to many policymakers and many countries in the extent how to navigate this challenge arising from the rivalry between the two powers. Coming to the impact on Southeast Asia. Basically, Southeast Asia is not stranger to the Cold War, as we have seen during the Vietnam War. But during that period, the player was Russia, and now we have China. We have seen that during the last Cold War, the general position of many countries in Southeast Asia was more towards the West. But to me, in the current situation, this may not be so. And I will explain to you why it is so. I think basically as a result of China's ability to persuade neighboring countries in the importance of economic partnership and cooperation. We have seen, as I mentioned, as a result of the global economic power balance, economic power have shifted from the west to the east. And in this configuration, China and East Asia has emerged as a center of activity. China's successes in economic and development as reflected in the many indices, I think, which we are all familiar, such as her emergence as the second largest economy, domestic prosperity, contribution to regional and global growth, as functioning as a manufacturing international hub, center of the global supply chain, has given it added attraction to the countries in Southeast Asia. Secondly, China also has been successfully in projecting its positive neighborly policy, proactive engagement in the region. He has launched several regional initiatives such as the ASEAN-China Free Trade Zone, access to its market, and also its active investment abroad. This actually has brought about a closer ties between ASEAN and China. It actually has become quite irresistible to Southeast Asia to the opportunities offered by China. With this close cooperation, of course, there are concerns about over-dependence or competition. But I think for the time being, Southeast Asian countries, generally whose leaders are very pro-development, are keen to downplay these controversial issues as to actually take advantage of China's economic strength for its own benefit and development. So you can see that the economic impact of China's rise in Southeast Asia has been very significant. And I think this will continue to be so. The second impact is actually on the geopolitical situation in Southeast Asia. As mentioned earlier, Southeast Asia is no longer a stranger to the big power competition. The competition now extends to many areas, including security, technology, infrastructure, connecting development, territorial dispute, human rights, supply chain that has bearing over Southeast Asia. But I think if you study statements made by leaders of ASEAN countries in recent years, they have made it clear they do not want to be asked to actually decide on whose side they should be. I think they have taken a rather traditional role of ASEAN, which has to be friendly with all the regional powers. In fact, ASEAN, since its inception, has created a number of mechanisms that encourage the interplay of all the regional powers in the region, as reflected in the mechanism of ASEAN +1, ASEAN +3, the East Asia Summit, and recently RCEP. So I think ASEAN leaders, as representing smaller countries in the region, have decided that they would like to take advantage of the benefit they could derive both from the two powers. As we know, both powers, the US and China, have strategic interests in the region. So the economic, the position of the country in Southeast Asia so far has enabled it to proceed with the hedging policy. But I'm not too sure whether the space for such hedging will remain as it is or will be further squeezed in the context of a more intense rivalry between the United States and China. But I think as a small countries, we are hopeful that both China and United States will show wisdom to actually manage their differences. While it is inevitable that they could move towards different paths, but cooperation and coexistence is possible. And I think this should be encouraged. I think in a small way, countries in Southeast Asia, together with others, have a role to encourage the big powers to actually maintain their stability of relationship as not to destroy or to actually result in the destruction of the global economy, peace and development. I'm actually optimistic that wisdom in the long run will prevail. With that, I thank you for your attention. Thank you.